Welcome back. Parents are having to find creative ways to teach from home. So Carolyn Professor Element Kessler is a mad science scientist from Winston-Salem, and she's joining us in her lab this morning to help us keep our kids entertained, all while learning science. So thank you so much for being here. We are excited to talk to you this morning. Of course, your program very hands-on. How have you adapted to doing this virtually?
Good morning, Maddie. I'm super excited to be here too. So yeah, our programs are very hands-on and inquiry-based. We bring stuff into the classroom and we let the kids play and work. So it's been a big challenge for us to try to figure out how we do this virtually. One of the first things that we did was we transferred our coding class online. That was the easiest one to do. And we had to start thinking about how do we do our other classes. So what we've done is we've taken our most popular classes in our camps and we've made them interactive. We have rewritten some activities that were normally demos and we'll let the kids do them at home. So we're running Zoom sessions, which everybody's really familiar with right now, live Zoom sessions with a mad scientist, and the kids can talk to the scientist, and as we do the activities, they do the activities. So we do a couple of options. Sometimes we do it where we say, all right, if you want to do this with us, gather up these things that you might have at home. And another option that we have is if you want to do it with us, we can send you some supplies.
That's awesome. So speaking of following along and doing some experiments, you're doing one called freeze fishing today. What is going on?
I am. Now, this is a great one to do in the summertime because it gets the kids hands-on, and all you need for it is salt, ice, a little bit of water, and some string. And this is a great one to do outside, and kids love playing with ice. Oh my gosh, kids love playing with anything. So what we're going to do is we are going to show you guys how to pick up an ice cube without using your hands. And it's great to challenge the kids. How can you pick this up without using your hands or your mouth? Because you know you have the kids that like that. Let's put our glasses. I gotta put our safety glasses on because safety is first. Rule number one in mad science is always safety first. So you're gonna take your ice cube and a little bit of a wet string. You wanna get that string nice and wet. And you're gonna challenge them to try to pick it up. And well, that's not gonna work like that. So what we do is we put a little bit of salt on that. Now, you probably know that we use salt in ice cream makers. And we use it on our roads in the wintertime to kind of melt that ice. Mm-hmm. And so what's actually happening, oh, it worked really fast this time too, is that you can pick it up. And wow. If you could look at it, you could actually see that the string has embedded kind of down into the ice. So what's really happening is something called freezing point depression. And that means we know that the freezing point of water is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, or since we're scientists, 0 degrees Celsius. And when you add salt to it, it lowers that freezing point. So what's really happening is salt is a combination of sodium and chloride ions, and they break apart and they kind of get in the way of all those little ice crystals, and they start to kind of break them up and they force them apart, and they force that freezing point just a little bit lower. Now that's what's happening in our ice cream makers. On our roads, we use calcium chloride, which is another type of salt. Same idea. Now, instead of having just sodium and chlorine ions, you've got calcium and 2 chlorine ions to do it too. Wow. And what I like to do with kids is try to figure out how can we make this, I mean, you can do it with one string, and that's okay, but we're going to make it more interesting by trying to say, well, what other kinds of strings work? And what's the difference in them? And I know we've tried this one with yarn before. Yarn's a little harder because it has a lot of fibers in it. And it takes a little bit longer for the yarn, all those fibers. But I want to try something new today. I hadn't thought about it. I want to try it with a pipe cleaner.
Okay.
I want to see if it'll work. And if it doesn't, well, that's science, right?
That's
exactly
put some salt
on it.
Now, while you're trying out those different strings, the yarn's working out. Are you doing any summer programs?
We are. We're doing several different things. So we have our summer camps, which we have translated some of those virtually. In fact, this week we have our Shipwreck Island camp where we strand kids on an island and they have to build a structure and a boat and try to figure out how to get off. And they learn about all these great inventors like Archimedes and Da Vinci and Benjamin Franklin even. So that one we have this week. And coming up next week, we have our Blast Off to Space camp, which is all about rockets in space and how things fly and like that.
All right.
We're also running weekly or daily afternoon classes. So if you have an hour that you want to get your kids doing something, look online and you can sign up for one of our afternoon classes.
That's a great idea. All right, did our pipe cleaner work? Almost.
Almost. It needs a little bit more time.
There
it
you
looks
go.
Like, yeah, the yarn, yep. But that's something you can do with the kids. Let it sit a little longer and try different strings.
That's awesome. Carolyn, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a link to this morning's experiment and the contact information for Mad Science on our website. Head to WFMYnews2.com to find it all. We'll be back.